evening, everybody, and welcome to the Fallout Bar after day 10 of the Paddy Power World Darts Championship. Joining me today, we have got Carl Evans, as ever. He seems to have been on pretty much every one of these so far. And once again, we've got latecomers to the party today, Jack Garwood. How are we both? Carl, we come to you.
Oh, well, I couldn't miss today after sort of it being officially Welsh Day at Ali Pally with three of our boys in action.
Welsh as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but no, I'm good, thank you. Getting over the festivities now, and I'm glad to see darts back on our telly. And what a day it's been.
Come back with a bang. How are you, Gav?
I'm all right, man. I'm not sure about this latecomer nonsense. I was here on time, ready to go.
No, I mean, more the fact that about an hour ago, you weren't planning on being on at all today.
I'm just too busy to fill out the rotor, if I'm being honest. If there's a slot, I go, yeah, that'll do. Stick me on it.
Yeah, to be fair, I just whacked myself on everything at the start and then just basically made sure that I had to do it from there on.
I wasn't that silly, and you lot all filled out before me because we didn't finish work until last Saturday. And then I was at the Palace on the Sunday as it was. Like,
didn't finish work till Saturday. I've been working today.
Do you know what that sounds like? You problem?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely me problem.
I'm not back again until the 6th. And that's if I'm on the Monday. I suspect I am, but
yeah, it's all right for some. Shout a few numbers out. I've got 3 weeks off. Happy days.
I need it to reset my throat, mate.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm struggling with that today, so I'm going to give you two most of the talking today, to be fair.
I get done before 1 a.m.
That's it. It'd be nice if we can. We haven't got Dan Simpson either, so there's a good chance. We'll start at the beginning. It seems like a good place to start. And there's only really one place to start in this one, isn't there? 9-dart leg for Mr. Damon Heta.
We're going straight in at the deep end.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it in terms of highlights for this one. As in, had we not had the 9-darter, probably wouldn't have had much to say apart from it being a seven-setter. But obviously he came close in the earlier rounds, missing the double 12, obviously, and went that one step further today and got it done, which means he pockets a nice 60 grand, another 60 grand to prostate cancer, and obviously the very happy fan who also went to Ali Pally to watch some darts and left for £60,000 in his pocket.
Just Sunday out of the darts, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's certainly a good incentive to go and watch the darts if you're fortunate enough to see a 9-darter. But I thought Luke Woodhouse's reaction to the 9 says a lot about him as well. I thought. And he seemed happier than Heta, who just won 60 grand. But no, it's amazing. 9-darter is something special on days. I saw an interesting stat, and I can't remember who put it now, but 16 9-darters have been hit at the Ali Pally at the World Championships. Only 7 of those players went on to win the match after hitting the 9-darters. So more than half unable to win a game after getting the magical 9-darter.
Yeah, you've just nicked my little tee up for God there. Thanks for that, Carl.
Sorry.
I had that one ready.
If you're listening on, if you're not watching live, mute for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. Gob, 16 9-darters at the World Championship, but only 7 of them have gone on to win the match.
That's amazing.
I almost pulled that out of nowhere. It does show though, like as much as it's good to get the 9-darter and it's great to win the leg in that fashion and obviously pocket everything that goes with it. It's very difficult to then reset the adrenaline and get yourself back into a position to go and throw and go and do what you're meant to do for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it is, because it is such a burst of energy. And if we're being honest, the players that typically go on to lose after hitting the 9 are players who are less used to being in that pressure environment. We see a Terry Jenkins and Kyle Anderson on the same day, back before Kyle even had a tour card, as players that I definitely remember hitting one and then not going on to win the game. Was Labanauskas another, maybe? And then you can see players that have hit one that then go on to win the game. Gary Anderson against Jelle Klassen early doors, Adrian Lewis as well, Barney as well. I think are 3 of the ones that you could reel off the top of my
twice, I
head.
think, actually, to be fair.
They're players who are in that pressure environment over and over again, do this multiple times, and have probably done it multiple times elsewhere. That is Hetter's first ever professional 9-darter, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So not only has he done that for the biggest payday of his darting career, it doesn't go on his rankings, but the World Cup's 70 grand, but let's be honest, you're splitting that 35 each, aren't you? Like, that's his biggest payday unranked on TV in front of that crowd. Like, it's a ridiculous moment. And to keep that adrenaline going is really, really difficult, because even Hetter hits that, takes the set. That 120 that followed not too long afterwards, I think it was in the set afterwards, was massive. That was arguably as big a finish, if not a bigger finish for Hetter in the context of the game, than the 141 for the 9-darter.
Yeah, 100%.
It was under pressure and it was at a really key moment. But what he then has is a bit of an energy dump after that, combined with a Luke Woodhouse resurgence. Luke Woodhouse has had a brilliant 2024. He's just been so solid and so consistent. And seeing him go far really is brilliant. But like you said, this 9-darter is becoming a bit of a curse at the Palace unless you hit it to win your game like Willie Borland.
Yeah, that's the best time to do it, especially if you're someone that's not used to sort of those moments and reacting like that. It's in the last leg when it doesn't matter what you do afterwards. Like I say, massive for Woodhouse. This again, a really, really good performance from him from the point of being 3-1 down. He was just exceptional. He played really, really well in this game and fully deserved to win it. And like I say, the reaction from him to the 9-darter was fantastic. Like, it just shows like it doesn't matter who's on one. Everyone wants him to hit it. And he celebrated like a man who they'd said was splitting the 60 grand, to be honest, if either of them hit it, the way that he went up at that point.
Well, the thing is, typically that's not allowed in the PDC, or it just doesn't happen. There might be the odd agreement where you say, all right, I'll send you some prize money afterwards, and if you want it, you honour it, and you hear back in the early days. But because majority of its ranking, it goes through managers and tax fees and whatever, you don't really hear of players splitting prize funds anymore. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. Now, for a 9, there may well have been that conversation. Luke and Damo are pretty close. They're part of the same manufacturer. And as it's just... it's like winning a scratch card, isn't it? Or having a syndicate in the lottery. If you both say before it, all right, well, if either one of us hits this, I'll give you a percentage, or we'll go halves or whatever as a gentleman's agreement. That may well have happened with the 60 grand prize money. It's not ranked. It's literally a gift. Yeah. So that can happen in that situation. That is speculation, though. Don't quote us on that.
Yeah, no idea, to be honest. He might even have just said, like, if one of us hits it, let's just go out on the piss afterwards and like we'll enjoy ourselves. But whatever way it might have been, not that
players don't drink,
obviously. No. But yeah, really big win for him and an opportunity now in the next round up against someone that we'll sort of come on to without spoiling too much, but one that he's going to fancy again, I think, at this point, Woodhouse in Stephen Bunting.
Yeah, definitely. And he's also got the added incentive now where he's knocking on the door of the top 32. So if results go for him in this round and he does get that win, then he climbs into the top 32 and that just opens up even more doors. And I feel like he's a player that should be in the top 32. That's sort of how well he's been playing this year or so. So it'd be interesting to see if he copes with that different sort of pressure maybe of knocking on that door, or if he can just play his game. Because at the moment, he's just sort of beating people who have more to lose than him, I guess, in De Decker and Hetter and Bunting's in that category as well. Because obviously I don't want to jump the gun and mention the Premier League, but
just basically knocking out everyone that might go.
Exactly. If ever was a case of chucking your own name into the hat, then Luke Woodhouse was doing that by effectively taking out everybody else's name out of it. So it's certainly a tasty tie that both players think if we can win that, then you're in the quarterfinals then, and obviously there's a tricky quarterfinal tie for whoever does win it. But hey, if you're in the tournament, you've got a chance.
Absolutely. And we heard from Luke Woodhouse after his game. So here he is talking to Phil afterwards.
Me and Damo are friends, so we play golf together. We've practiced together a little bit and stuff. So I knew how annoyed he was from this. I mean, the interview with you boys when he missed the double 12. He was up here for about half an hour when he complaining about how he missed the double 12. So when he hit it, I couldn't control myself. So I was as excited as he was for him to hit it. But the thing is, as soon as the crowd go up, you can just feel it going through your body. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I was so chuffed he hit it. Like you say, £60,000 to Damo, £60,000 to charity, and I'm not sure we won it in the crowd, but it makes their Christmas a little bit better.
Yeah, it does that. Extra 60 grand just for a day out of the darts. Like, we've gone and watched darts for years, and we'd all just, you do it for now to see a 9 when you're there, like the moment. But yeah, getting that little bonus.
I was manifesting it so hard when I was there last Sunday. Go on, Gary, you hit one. Even Schindler missed double 12 for it. And I was like, don't worry, it's absolutely fine. Gary's going to hit one. I've got perfect seats here. I'm like right at the back, in the middle, sat on the tables. Like, this is prime camera space. I'm winning 60 grand. And it got absolutely nowhere near. But what I will say on nines is it's unbelievable when the person that has it hit against them celebrates. The very first one I refereed on the Super Series was Sebastian Białecki's, and Anton Ursuline gave it a bigger roar than Seb ever will in his entire life. Seb could win the World Championships, and the biggest roar you will ever hear on the stage alongside him will be the reaction of Anton Ursuline from the 9 dart that Seb hit against him to win the match as well. I've never seen anyone cheer being beaten so much.
No, it's it's not one that you sort of tend to expect, but yeah, it's just. It shows how close they all are as well, sort of off the hockey, and sort of how much they all just want to see each other do well as much as anything. They don't want to see them beat each other, but what they want to see is they want to see them perform well and hit those magic moments. Daz in the chat room has just asked, what's the next round? First to, I think it's still first to 4, isn't it?
Still best of 7, quarterfinals, best of 9.
Yeah, so... We're still on that. Obviously, anything else in the chat room, throw it in. I'll try and remember to put things up as we go. Next game of the day, another cracker that went all the way to a deciding set. And Johnny Clayton getting the better of Daryl Gurney. This was another really good game to watch. Just close all the way through. Sort of Clayton got himself into a lead, but then Gurney sort of came roaring back at him, but just wasn't able to get the job done in the end. A big win for Johnny, and he's putting together a nice little run now, isn't he, Gob?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you, Gob. I've decided I'm forget the Welsh correspondent. We're not having it.
He can have his moment in a bit. Look, Johnny's starting to put results together, not necessarily performances, but he's putting results together that is putting him nicely placed in the world rankings. I think he's 6th now after. Did he just leapfrog Heta? Am I making that up?
No, I think he needs another win to leapfrog Heta, doesn't he?
No, he's just leapfrogged Heta by 10 grand. So he's not a million miles away from Rob Cross. A semi-final would do that, which would be an automatic spot in the travelling circus. Do I think that's sustainable? Possibly not with his form. Because if you look back at this game, despite the 160 checkout and whatever, Johnny led this one, 3-0? It never felt like Johnny had done anything special in that moment. It felt like he'd done just enough, kept Gurney at arm's length and picked off a couple of key moments without doing anything overly over-the-top spectacular in those moments. He just did enough. He held his nerve. He took out good 2-dart combinations. It was nice to see Johnny back flowing. The minute Daryl came back at him, I was worried that was a game that Clayton would lose.
Yeah.
Because if you look at other players that have had comebacks wagered towards them in this tournament so far, etc., they've been players like Gezi later on who have just got that little bit more nerve about them and that little bit of scoring power to drive them away, and you just trust them that little bit more in the outer ring. We don't really have any of that with Johnny right now, and that's what made him susceptible to that comeback from Daryl Gurney. I mean, it's brilliant from him to hold off in the end and get the job done. But like I said, when Gurney's coming back at him and building and going through the sets, it felt a bit like Johnny didn't fancy it, and that's a worry.
Yeah, I felt like watching it that once Gurney started coming back at him, those Johnny Clayton finishes between 60 and sort of 130 that just go religiously, you didn't fancy them every time he got over it. He looked like he was rushing them a little bit. He didn't look like his normal sort of self as he was throwing at them. And he's got a little bit of a gift in the last set because Daryl Gurney fell off a cliff after getting it back to 3-3. but a win's a win and take the positives, Carwin.
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? If you look at the stats, I think Johnny only had the higher average in 2 of those sets, and he probably found himself very lucky to be 3-0 up, to be honest with you. But it's the World Championship, and it doesn't really make a difference how well you play. If you hit more doubles, or not necessarily, if you win more sets than your opponent, you win the game. And it'll definitely be a game that he'd be relieved to get through, having seen a 3-0 lead disappear, and probably heading into the last set, you'd have fancied Gurney just because of the way he'd come back into the game. But yeah, he forgot that you had to hit a double, or how to hit a double, and Clayton got lucky. But I think sometimes you need that bit of luck. And obviously, he went through a tough period last year, losing his father, and his game just, he seemed to not lose interest, because that's probably the wrong phrase, but he had other things on his mind which prioritized that, and he's finally getting back to, or getting that hunger back to win dart matches. But I think what we need now, and even if it would result in a defeat, is we need to see a Johnny Clayton performance, because at the moment he's just breezing through games, average, sort of playing very average, but getting the rub of the green and catching his opponents on an off day. Now, his opponent in the next round, whilst he isn't firing on all cylinders, he'll certainly be up for that game, having lost his number 1 Wales title to Johnny Clayton. So if Clayton's to go further and to try and get into that top 4, he'll need to put in a mid 90 plus average performance, something we haven't seen from him in a long time over a long format.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to see if he's, like I say, Desi sort of was guilty of the same thing as Johnny in his game a little bit, but yeah, you're not gonna see him lose in that fashion, or let someone back in that fashion if they are only averaging 90 and not sort of upping it. So Johnny is definitely gonna have to up it, but still, he's through to the next round, and we heard from him afterwards as well. Obviously, remember, all of these clips will be in full on the YouTube channel. So once you're done with us, go over, you can listen to every winner from today. So all 6 of them will be up there in full. But here was Johnny Clayton.
Well, it's nice to be fit as hell. You know, I used to have a 6-pack. No, all jokes aside, no. No, obviously, it's a little joke between, all the boys, because I'm 50 and all my friends are much younger than me. Like, they all pick on me, yeah. So it's just a bit of a fun, bit of fun. And listen, I don't think I've got much left in darts, where these youngsters have got a long time left. So I'm trying to do as good as I can now, because my time is running out.
Well, I wasn't really expecting that from him until I heard it earlier on afterwards. But we do forget that he is 50. Like, he's not a young boy anymore, and he doesn't particularly look 50, and he doesn't, like, you sort of just don't expect it from him, the way sort of he is, the way he gets on with things. But he is getting on a bit. His time is going to be limited as to how long he wants to go on at this. I know he mentioned going on to the seniors tour in his interview on Sky at the end of.
Been able to do that for 5 years now.
What's that?
Been able to do that for 5 years now.
Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, who knows how long he wants to go on at this level, but he's clearly still got the game to compete. So as long as he can do, obviously, love to see him up there. One person who did perform well today was in the next game. And last game of the afternoon session, Stephen Bunting sort of made this look quite easy against Madars Razma. I'll be honest, it was just over a ton average without looking that special at, sort of on first watch as it went along, but it was just an impressive performance, Carly.
Yeah, it was really. And once he sort of won that first set, he just looked in control, and it just looked like he'd have too much for Razma, and unless Razma was going to do something spectacular, he'd never really get back into the game. And then obviously he won the second set comfortably, and you sort of thought then, well, okay, we're probably looking at a 4-0 here, despite him missing quite a few darts at a double. But fair play to Razma, he broke back in the very next set, but that was probably as good as it got for him. And Bunting just, yeah, he played well, obviously, averaging 100, but just always in control. And it was one of those games. There was always only going to be one winner. It just depends how much of a fight Rasma could put up. And after sort of 2 7-setters, it was probably inevitable we weren't going to get a hat trick of those. So in the afternoon anyway. So no, it's an all-round good performance of Bunting. It's probably one of those performances now we've come to expect from him, in the fact that he looks in control and knows how to win matches, which in the Worlds or any major really is the crucial thing, is that you know how to get over that line.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing we didn't get another 7-setter, to be honest, because they'd have struggled to turn the room round in time, ready for the evening session if we had done. But yeah, it was a little bit. It felt a bit like a sort of a boxer up against a journeyman that's just there to get pummeled a little bit. Like, it felt like there wasn't anything coming back from Rasma. There wasn't anything that was really going to hurt Bunting at any point. So he could, like, even when he did take out the big checkouts, like I know he took out, I don't know what it was now, on double 13, one of the ton pluses to sort of extend it into that beyond, to avoid the 4-0 at that point. It still didn't feel like it really hurt Bunting at that point, and that he could just like not worry about what was coming back and just play his own game, essentially.
Yeah, 119 a check out you're on about. I think Rasmus played okay. He's not done anything overly special. Average 90, done all right. Pinched to set, fair play. 2 big checkouts in there. That'll do it for you. I think the most impressive thing about this from Bunting is he made 100 average look completely normal and casual. A lot of times when players haven't really gone over that mark over this duration of match, we can see it in first to 6s on Players' Championship finals and opening rounds of Euro Championships and stuff. It's a walk in the park for these guys. But when you put it together in set play and have all these breaks in the game where you have to leave the stage and come back on and then produce again and again, and he didn't look like he was chasing that level of performance at all, which was really, really impressive of Bunting. It's like he's found that extra gear. He's moving that B game up a little bit, which then moves his A game consistently there more, sort of thing. Yeah, it's hard not to be impressed with Bunting. There's people falling all around him. He's got an incredible amount of pressure from the crowd and everyone involved because of Bunting mania and let's go Bunting mental.
He needs to stop doing that in the interview at the end. I just can't watch it.
But look, we've criticised a lot of people in the last couple of years for not being natural with what they're trying to do to create this persona that will get them recognised for things like the Premier League and the World Series. With Bunting, it feels natural. It feels like he's built it
absolutely natural,
legitimately. Stephen Bunting has got a fan base because he lies on his sofa pissing around with TikTok filters. Like, that's brilliant. That's not a gimmick. That's not overdoing it. Like, it's just good to see from Bunting that he's getting appreciated on that level, and hopefully it pays off for him next season. But played really, really nicely again today. Tough part of the draw as we progress, but we'll talk about the main man at the end. I think there's a chance in there.
Yeah, I do. It's, like I say, it's a tough part of the draw, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to beat at least one of them if you're gonna go and win it, whichever part of the draw you're in. And everyone on the day is capable. Bunting, we have another clip from, so we'll listen to him, and then we'll get into the evening session.
I don't care. Yeah, if they are, then happy days. I'm doing something right, aren't I? Like I said, I'd be stupid to take my eye off the ball. I need to be 100% focused on what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. It's all about me. Same at Liverpool Football Club, innit? Why worry about all the others? Because we're 27 points ahead. Maybe they're caught up in the Bunting mental wonderland. Hopefully they're all choking. Hopefully no one else hits 100 average and I can keep doing what I'm doing and I'll win the title, won't I? But listen, like I said, it's not about what anyone else does, it's about what I do. And if I keep continuing to play the way I am, I'm going to be in people's conversations. That's 100% true. But I've got to remain focused. I've got to keep my feet on the ground. I've got a lovely family behind me. I've got great management. And listen, I'm emotional because it's such a it's the best tournament in the world where you want to play your best darts, and to have 100 average, you just said there's 4 people who've done it so far this year. That's unbelievable, and hopefully I can continue to do that.
I now understand why Gob wanted to be on tonight, because he's going to mention the 27 points clear at the top of the Premier League in his interview.
It's not quite that many, but
It's looking good.
It might as well be at this point.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That Premier League is done. We know exactly what's happening in that one. We might not know what's happening in the darts one, but we know 100% that that one is finished. Into the evening session, and this is a game where it just shows you that averages are irrelevant in a game, because they don't look that special if you look at it. This was one of, if not the best game that I've ever seen on the Alexander Palace stage. Like, it was that good between Gerwyn-Price and Joe Cullen. The last set just felt like they both had the absolute bollocks on them to hit anything they needed to stay in the match. However, to win the match, didn't seem to either of them have it up until that last leg where Gezi pulled it out. We love a deciding leg. I said earlier in the tournament, in one of the games that almost went to one, that I don't want a deciding leg. I want Isner and Mahou. I want just go on forever until someone wins. And I would happily have watched this game until someone fell over and could no longer throw a dart. Like, it was that good to watch. But Gerwyn-Price is the one that got through it. It feels like it's very Joe Cullen to be in these sort of matches and not end up winning them. But he can't be. Well, he will. He'll be gutted, but he can't be too disappointed with this, surely, because it was a fantastic match all around, wasn't it, Gob?
The worry is, I think he can be disappointed with this. He's the first player ever to miss match darts in 4 different World Championships in games that he's then gone on to lose.
Which is madness with the number of people that have played that many times in World Championship games. But
the difference between missing doubles at darts double and missing match darts at doubles is huge. Look, Gezi's tops and tens changed the game. They got him that lead, and then they threw that lead away completely. Cullen's rally was really, really good. There were still moments where you thought perhaps it wasn't quite going to happen for Cullen. I think at the end of the 5th set, to get back to 3-2, Gezi had an opportunity in that one. But like you said, it doesn't feel unexpected to see Joe Cullen on the end of a result like this in a game like this. I even said it in our group chat, didn't I? I'm not going to front and hide away from it.
You said it before the end of it.
Before he took out the 82 in like the 3rd leg of the tie-break set, I was like, unbelievable from Cullen to get back into this. But this is exactly the sort of game that Cullen goes on to lose in a heartbreak situation.
Yeah.
He couldn't get more heartbreaking than taking out a 170 to break for the 6th leg in a row between them, to then not get a match dart in the deciding leg on your own throw, is possibly the most Joe Cullen ending of them all.
Yeah, it was that's probably the bit that's going to hurt the most, because taking out that 170 after Gezi had missed 2 match darts to win it anyway, then not even getting below the 100 in that final leg on your own throw, it is going to hurt. And he had opportunities in there. He had a lot of chances. And I know he sort of had a dip at people about writing him off, but these sorts of results are why people do write him off as well. Because, like you say, he's the first person ever to have match darts in 4 games and go on to lose them at the World Championships. And we've seen it a few times now. It's not a new story. So when it comes down to it next year, and we're sitting here looking in a tough game in the early rounds of next year's tournament, we're probably going to sit here again and go, will he get over the line when it matters, Colin?
Well, yeah, because in that last set, he's lost his throw 5 times, and you can't expect to win matches against top 10 players if you can't hold your throws. And I know Gezi lost his throw 4 times in the last set as well. It was a crazy set where we got 9 breaks of throw in 11 legs. But it is one of those games again that Cullen will look back on in a few months' time and think, bloody hell, I should have lost that. Then obviously we know next time he's got Clayton, who is there for the taking. and then you're in the quarterfinal, and
You're only saying that because it's another Welsh player playing him. You would not have said that if it was anyone else.
well, who knows? As in, I think it does make it easier knowing that there'll be at least one Welsh player in the quarterfinal. But no, Cullen sort of has undone the work he did in his post-match interview against Nyman by blowing this chance here, I think, as in to come back from 3-0 down to then have the darts in the deciding set, to then sort of blow up in the wrong leg in that last sort of, I say, you take out the 170, you're thinking, right, he's going to be bouncing to start this last leg decider, and so he didn't hit a ton until he didn't hit a turn or leg, and if that's the case, then you're not really going to. I know he had a bounce out at the wrong time, but if you can't hit a turn in the most important leg of a darts match, you're going to struggle. And unfortunately for Cullen, he couldn't get over the line, but Gezi will be relieved. And I think you sort of saw that reaction from him, really, as in just for a man who's so dependable or has been dependable on tops and tens, for them to just disappear for half a game is crazy. And it probably sums up that in 2024 in just that nothing seems to make sense unless any Luke and the name Luke is in the conversation. But yeah, it was a game that both players would have been gutted to lose, but probably at the same time couldn't have been too disappointed had they not, just because it was strange, but very, very bizarre game, and I think it took Wales as a country a long time to get over this, but it made easier the fact by Price winning it.
Yeah, it was for Price. It's big. He's still in the tournament. He's still in there fighting, and we see it every year. The eventual winner always dodges a bullet at some point, and to say he's dodged a bullet here is probably being a bit generous. He's probably dodged about 1,000 of them in this full army shooting at him. But there's always a game that we look back on and go, he could have been out there and could have been gone, and he's still in there fighting, and he's still got a chance.
I think that's bold. I think that's really bold this early. Don't get me wrong, he has missed a lot of darts at double in this one, which has contributed to the drop-off of the average. But if that's what we're going to see from Price, look, it's very rare that he gets through the second round of whatever tournament he's in, or say it's the UK Open, he makes it to the fifth round, or wins his first game, loses the second game on TV, has been his formula for the last 18 months. And when he has done it, he's missed a shed load of darts at doubles. It's just been the Gezi formula for the last 18 months. Wasn't that impressive in first round or his first game against Keane Barry? I thought he did enough. I thought he was there for the taking for Keane, and Keane's doubling was dreadful. Keane actually had one more dart at double than Gezi Price, but he hit 7 less than Price did on the outer ring, which says an awful lot about it. And even in this one, he's had chances, but actually in that final set, it was probably Cullen who had the better chances. There was more opportunities for Cullen to hold throw, and then obviously he's hitting back with the breaks, and there was vice versa. It just felt like Cullen was there or thereabouts on every leg. Gezi had a couple quiet ones, got back in, and it falls his way in the final leg. Sorry. I'm not convinced about how far he goes in the tournament. I don't think it's the best going. Johnny Clayton stood in his way, and it is quite an open part of the draw.
And his scoring was there. Like, his scoring was really good today.
His scoring was matched in the most part by a Joe Cullen that has had one of the worst seasons in Joe Cullen living memory. So it is there and it isn't there. Don't get me wrong, they've both been garbage on doubles and still average 92 each. But
yeah, if he ties up tops and we starts hitting them like we know he can do, and
I mean, they were still around the 30%. It's still 1 in 3. Visit-wise, you're still expecting them to come back to the board with 3 in hand and take it out every single time they're there. Like, that's what their numbers equate to.
Yeah, but when getting on it, it's
a little bit more on Joe.
He's only getting one dart at them. He's hitting them.
Yeah. Just to pile a bit more on Joe, how good he'll be. He actually won more legs in this match.
I know he did. Yeah, 19-18, which is just the beauty of set play, or the absolute nightmare of set play for Joe Cullen, as it might be. Well, let's hear what Gezi thought afterwards, and then we will move on from there.
Again.
I don't know. I didn't even know it was the last leg. I just kept going. And then he shouted, game short on the match. I thought it was one more leg to go. If my A game comes, I win the tournament, simple. But it's whether my A game's there. We all love to play at our best all the time, but it don't happen. And it's not, to be honest, I don't think it's how good is your A game, it's how good your B game and your C game. Can you get the wins? And I did today.
Well, he sort of thinks the same as me, apparently, so which means he's definitely wrong. So it's unfortunate for him, really, but...
Yeah, I'd agree with him there, as in, it's all about how good your B and C game is, because he's nowhere near his A game, and as you got mentioned, we haven't seen that for about 18 months, or maybe even more, but...
It's not necessarily that we haven't seen it from him. We haven't seen him back it up. We've seen ridiculous performances from him in the opening round of a tournament that he's played in. It's first round, but I'd say that so that people don't go, well, he played in the fourth round of the UK Open. You know what I mean? The first time we see Gezi in a tournament, he's by and large been brilliant for the last 18 months. He's just been diabolical when you've asked him to back it up 2 days later.
Yeah, there is that. And we'll see where he goes after this. Obviously, like I say, it feels like a good opportunity to go and play Johnny Clayton now. So we'll see what happens. Few people in the chat room to sort of say hello to as well. Bob, one of the members, asking how many double 20s did Gezi miss?
Too many.
Somewhere over 400 million. It's just a massive amount. Adam's asking how far do you think Gezi can go? I still think he can win it. I seem to be on my own out of these with those three on here, but
I said Clayton makes the semi-final before a dart was thrown, so I had him beating Price in the last 16, and I'll stick with that.
Malik is in there. Carwin was in his element today. He literally, that was almost his exact wording in the chat today. Just before Johnny was about to play in our WhatsApp group, Carwin straight on going, right, the dart starts now. He's completely ignored that there's been a 9-darter in leg one. He's like, nope, dart starts now. Welsh Nationals on in about half an hour. This is me set for the day. So yeah, he was absolutely in his element there as well. Other than that, Jackson, he thinks he can win it, but it depends on his doubles. It does. If he hits his doubles like he can do, then 100%, I think he can go on and win it. And is he back in the Prem talk from Hazzy there? Yes, I think he was anyway. I think if he wants it, I think it's probably there for him as well. Next up, we saw Jermaine Watanabe against Peter Wright. Now, this was one where Peter Wright has roundly been written off by everyone. He's come in complaining that he's ill as well, so everyone's thinking, right, excuses are out here already. He already doesn't sort of fancy this one and is getting himself ready for going home and enjoying his new year. But this was as good as I've seen Peter Wright look for, 18 months at least, maybe longer. This was a really, really good performance from him. The scoring was there. Helps that he's using a dart that's a good dart for him, and the one that he won his first title with, straight barrel, it just seemed to go in at the right angle for him. And played really well in defeating a very good Jermaine Watanabe who's been excellent this year. 4-2 in this one, Carlin.
Yeah, it was. It was a very good performance from Peter Wright, and probably a better one than anybody really expected, maybe outside of his camp. I do feel that Watanabe will look at this again and be like, oh, I've probably blown a chance here, because yes, Peter Wright's played better than we've seen in a long time, but he wasn't the big average, big number hitting Peter Wright that we've seen in the past. But taking nothing away from Wright, as we've said, he's been written off. He's tumbled down the rankings. He's been questioned whether he should carry on or whether he should retire. And then he's come back and said, no, wait a minute. I've got 96 average in me. I've got 10 maximums and almost 50%, I think, on his doubles. So as an all-round performance, he'll be very happy. And whilst he'll have tougher opponents ahead, I don't think he'll have seen much that should worry him for him thinking maybe he can go deep in this tournament. If he can maintain this level and build on it, then he's got a chance, because obviously he's been there and done it. It's just a case of if he can sort of sustain this level of performance against an opponent who may not give him as many opportunities as he was given tonight and against Wesley in the first round.
Yeah, he took his chances. It was a slow start from Jermaine, who then sort of came into it from there onwards. But I think he was one of his first 12 on the doubles and then went 7 of 12 from there, which is sort of what we've expected of him recently and the sort of level he's been playing at. It was just that start got him behind in the game, and it was just sort of a little bit too far back to make a comeback, despite a couple of magic moments, like the 1-4-4 to win the set was to get him a set on the board at 3-1 was magic. 2-1, sorry, to stop him going 3-0 down was pretty magic from him, and he's not played badly in the end. Like, it's a pretty solid performance, but he just gave himself too much to do early on, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a worry at that point as well when Jermaine hits that 1-4-4 that extends this game, and the longer this game goes on, the more likely it is that Peter loses it. Sustaining that level of performance that we're so not used to seeing from him for the last 18 months, coupled with the fact that he's got that chest infection and he's going back to his table to cough in between visits, etc. The longer this game went on, the more likely it was that Peter Wright was beaten. However, his doubling was incredible. His scoring perhaps was a little bit off, but his 2 and 3 dart combination finishing today was back to the levels that took him to a world title. It was awesome. So good from Peter Wright. And look, most coaches will tell you this. Most people and friends will tell you this. To anybody at our level or Super League level or whatever else, if you go shopping around for new darts, it's not the darts. With Peter Wright, 95% of the time, it absolutely is the fucking darts. And the ones he threw today took him to a world title for a reason, because he's mustered with them, even as much as sticking with that stem and flight combination, that molded Dimplex flight that was on the back of them as well. That is the combination that Peter Wright plays the best darts with, and I will not hear anything else. You can put every set he's ever played with, average of those in any condition, and I'm telling you now, Peter Wright played best with the darts that he had in his hand tonight.
Yeah, they're just the perfect setup for him. You can tell by the way he scored. Like, he's not a massive 180 hitter at any point, but he hit 10 today, and sort of it was just really solid in terms of his scoring. And then, like I say, there was that worry that you get into the later rounds and he's struggling in terms of illness and chest infection and everything. And you think, I might slow down. He's then in the final set, 6 sets into it, he's averaged a ton and just rattled through it again with some great finishing. That if you average 160% on your doubles, you're going to win more matches and more sets than you're going to lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much.
Yeah.
All I've said. I'm not. Obviously, we're looking at next, and he's got Luke next, which is going to be. He's going to have to up it again. Like, that's not going to be enough against Humphries, because we just know it isn't. But if he sticks with those darts and he plays like that again, he probably will improve again himself as well and give himself chances, especially if Luke starts a little bit slowly as well. We haven't got a clip yet from Peter.
You won't get one. He didn't do it.
Did he not do one at all? No, I thought he might not have done. He might have just got himself home and to bed with a lemsip. But so we'll go straight on into the final game, which we also don't have a clip from yet, unless Phil drops into the back end at any point in the next few minutes. But this one, he kind of went the way we all expected, didn't we? Like, I thought there was a reasonable price with Paddy Power on Nick Kenny to win a set at 5-6. I thought it was a pretty good price, but he had to start well early on, and he had the draw. First set, he gives himself his opportunity. It's only 1 dart at double 18, but you've got to take those opportunities against someone as good as Luke Humphries is if you are going to get set on board. He didn't, and from there, it felt like that was all she wrote at that point, and it turned out to be a very comfortable 4-0 win for Luke Humphries in the end there, Carwin.
Yeah, it did. And as you say, that first set was the one Nick needed to win if he was going to make a game out of it. And he held his throw well in the first three legs. Sorry, obviously Luke throwing second. And that 105 in the first leg, I thought, oh, he's up for it. He's keen. He wants to he wants to make a game out of it. But Luke is just I can't think of an animal which I can compare it to now. But he's just got the patience to sit and wait for the time to attack. And once he starts, he's relentless, and he just goes back at you and back at you and back at you. And I thought after the first set, Nick Kenny then broke the throw at the start of the second. Right, okay, hold your throw now, and this could be your set. What does Luke do? He breaks him straight back, and then he reels off. He reels off the next three legs to sort of win 3-1 in the second set, and same in the third, and then the fourth he just ran out with it. And without looking as well as he has done all year, Luke Humphries has made light work of getting through to the last 16. And as defending champion and world number one, that's all you want. We all know he's got gears to go through, to go up again if needed. The question is, can he turn it on like a switch when needed to? I think he can. And he probably will have to improve again when he plays Peter Wright, especially if Peter plays like he did tonight, because he will give himself chances and he'll be in legs. So I'm interested to see how Luke takes that next step and probably tries to get to the 100 average. But he just looks so professional and businesslike, and it's easy on the eye to watch. He's a quality. That's where
he is, and he just makes 98, 99, 100 averages look like it's just every day, not even trying. Get involved early in the chat room here as well before we get on to predictions, in that what animal is Carwin thinking of that is patiently waiting to attack, because that'll be a fun little one, see who can come up with anything there. But yeah, God, this is, for Luke Humphries, it's been, without playing particularly well, it's absolutely the start you want to any defence of a World Championship. He's not dropped a set yet and not really looked in danger of dropping a set at any point either, other than the one dart from Nick Kenny in the first set.
Yeah, I don't think he's done anything overly special here. He's made a 98 average look very, very simple, very, very average, run-of-the-mill. I'll be honest, while I'm watching the darts these days, I tend to have my phone scrolling and whatever. I looked up to see the result. My partner was like, oh my God, is it over already, sort of thing. Like,
it's not the first time she said that to you, is it?
It was just easy for Luke Humphries. Coasted through this one. Happy with the improvement in performance from him from the previous round. That 90 average that he had in round two was the lowest average he's had on TV, excluding the double start Grand Prix in 18 months.
Yeah.
Which is a big dip when you're defending this big one. All right. He's got that monkey off his back, which is defending that Players' Championship finals. He said that an awful lot in the pre-match piece of content that he did with Sky, how that'll free him up a bit. I think getting through that first round was massive for him. Like you said, not been tested so far. Been pretty comfortable. I think the next round is where you want to test. And he will get a sort of one if this level of Peter Wright turns up again.
Oh, yeah, it'll be much more of a test.
You don't really push too far. You don't have to go all the way to the well, 7 sets, deciding leg, etc. But what you want to know is if your opponent decides they're going after a set and puts their foot down, can you respond at the same time? Is that extra gear still there when Luke Humphries wants and requires it? Because it has been for the best part of 18 months. That's what's taken him to be the best player in the world, the world number one, reigning world champion, and win so many titles. When he's needed it most, he's been able to put his foot down and respond instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Now he just needs that double check reassurance, because there's been such a big gap since the Players' Championship finals and no Pro Tours and no Euro Tours. There's been a few exhibitions and whatever, but there's less pressure on them. All right, his mentality might going, all right, this is really serious, but actually the crowd's different and you're playing best of 11s against people that you might not play or in the same stable as you, or you're playing against crowd members, prattling around and you want to put on a good show, etc. Like, at that point, going double to them is more important with the finishes than it is the outcome, sort of thing. So,
of course it is. It's not, that's not getting you ready for a game on the big stage, is it?
And that December period was big for Luke. He's clearly in demand as well because of the position he's in the world. But this next round will be a test for him, or he needs it to be a test of some sort, I think.
Yeah, and I think it will be. I think we'll see another decent performance from Peter Wright without pushing him too close, like you say. I think, but he can certainly take a couple of sets off him and maybe even sort of race into a 2-0 lead like he did today. And then we have to see what Humphries can do and pull himself back from there. Because Phil works as hard as he does and is as good at what he does as he is, we've got a clip from Luke Humphries as well now. He has been in the back end and dropped it in there. And little teaser for you, apparently it's a good one.
He is a dangerous player. I felt like he was okay in the practice through. I mean, maybe he was a lot iller than he showed, but I didn't really see any signs that he was that ill as he maybe said he was. But when I've been ill here 2 years ago and I played Bunting and Vince van der Voort, and I was really I struggled. I couldn't perform at anywhere near the top level. He actually played probably one of the better games he's played for a long time. But he's had a lot to say over the last couple of weeks where he says that he doesn't fear me and Luke Littler, but he said he's going to smash us. So all pressure's on him now, because if he doesn't, then the egg's on his face, not mine. I'm really relaxed, and if he doesn't beat us, then it's going to look silly on him, not me. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say something back, but I'm one of them people that's like, nah, let's leave it. But I didn't read the whole interview, but I see what he said, and I'm thinking, how many times have people said, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it never happens. Michael's a good example. He said so many things over the years, I'm going to smash this, smash that, and then he loses. So, yeah, Pete was like, I think he said something like, Barney's going to smash me and Peter's going to smash Jermaine. Well, he got his end of the bargain, but it's just, I think Peter loves to play the mind games, but it don't work with me. I'm one world title away from almost matching his career, and I'm about 25 years younger, so I think one world title would sort of match everything he's ever achieved in the game. So, yeah, I don't look into it too much. I think he's trying to play the mind games, but unfortunately for him, it don't work for me, and it probably won't work for Luke, because he said he don't fear us, but if I don't fear someone, I don't keep mentioning them all the time.
Well, it wasn't a bad one, was it? Jesus. My big takeaway from that is Luke Humphries saying, yeah, I saw what he said, and I wanted to say something back, but I'm not going to do that. And then basically just assassinate his career by saying I'm one win at the Worlds away from matching it 25 years younger. So, yeah, he's not going to have a nibble back, but he definitely had a little nibble back.
They are my favourite, aren't they? Like, no, I'm not going to bite. That's the equivalent of saying I'm not biting, and it in a group chat, like, not biting is a bigger bite than actually just snapping someone's hand off.
Yeah. I'm not going to bite, but you can get fucked. Basically, is what he's just gone and said. So yeah, confident, and to be fair, rightly so confident, because he is still the man to beat up there. And now it's predictions time. So now it is time in the chat to get yourselves ready. And I don't think we've had anyone give any suggestion as to what animal Colin was on about. Colin, have you come up with it yet? Any idea which animal you were thinking of?
Like a tiger, but something vicious like that. But
so, crouching tiger.
Yeah, there's better answers out there, but I'm not enough of an animal expert, I'm afraid.
No, fair enough. Right, well, we're on to tomorrow then. And, well, today as it is now, as it always is, it seems to be in this tournament when we get on to the predictions. And we start off with Ryan Joyce, who it feels like sort of outlasted a couple of opponents, up against Ryan Searle, who was one of the really impressive performers in the second round. And I'll come to you first, Gob, on this one. Which way are you going on this one?
Come again? Who's playing first tomorrow?
I've got it down as being Joyce against Searle.
PDC Live Scores hasn't updated, so they've got the 28th games as today. So I've just gone to flip.
The 28th is today.
Well, they've got the games that we've just played as the 28th. So I've just
right.
And it's got Nebrader and thing. I was like, that's not what he's just said at all.
No, get yourself on Flash Score.
Ryan Searle for me, 4-2.
Carwin, what do you fancy in the Battle of the Ryans?
Yeah, I feel like Joyce might have run out of steam and Searle have too much for him, but I think he might make it a bit easier than what Gob just said. I'm going to go 4-1 Searle.
4-1 Searle, 4-2 Searle for Gob. We have got Connor in the chat room has got Joyce 4-2, Searle 4-2 for Daniel, Searle 4-3 for Maliki, Jack's got Searle 4-2, Hazard's got Searle 4-3, 4-3 for Bob as well for Searle, Video Smurf 4-2 for Searle, Patrick 4-2 for Searle as well. We've got pretty much everyone enjoys in Searle's corner other than Connor and Daz 4-1 for Searle, 4-3 Joyce for Adam, and James got 4-2 for Searle there as well. I can't really see anything different. I was really impressed with how Searle played in the first game, and Joyce will always be competitive. He'll always sort of stick in there, and he'll win legs, and he'll take opportunities when they come his way. But I just don't think he gets enough to win this one, and I think 7-4 for Searle looks quite a good price, and I think he wins it 4-2. 7-4 on, by the way, just to throw that out there. 7-4 for Searle. I would be absolutely lumping all of the wedding fund on it. But on to the second game of the day, and we have Scott Williams up against Ricardo Petresco. Carwin, it's your turn first on this one. I think this is a really good game. This is pretty close, to be fair. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think this one goes long as well. Both had impressive victories in their last rounds, beating good opponents. But I just feel like Scott Williams on the big stage will have the cockiness, and will have he loves the big occasion, and this is a big occasion because we're both being so close in the rankings. I think Williams wins it 4-3, but I don't think it goes sudden death or extra legs. I think he wins 3-1 the last set.
Nice detailed prediction, like it. Gob, where are you going?
I love the swagger of Scott Williams on this stage. I think he just comes alive. He's brilliant. Really, really solid runs here the last couple of years. Beating all right and under par Rob Cross is difficult to do when you're in the same stable as him and are as close to Rob as he is. That being said, I think Scott's comments from a year ago, 2 years ago, come back to bite him after beating.
I was ready to mention that. I was going to say, I just swallow it. I've got him winning. I think he wins it 4-3, but yeah. I hope he chooses his words a little bit more carefully afterwards.
Yeah, after Scott beat Martin Schindler, he may have upset half of Germany. And I think that might come back to bite him this time around. I'm going to say 4-2 Ricardo.
Okay. I feel we'll be a little bit more split in the chat on this one than we were for the first game. We've got Ricardo 4-2 for Jack. He's with you there, Gob. Ricardo 4-2 for Jamie as well. 4-3 for Williams for Daz. 4-1 Williams for Maliki. Maliki's got it wide and quite comfortable for him in this one. 4-2 for Shaggy for Bob there as well. Daniel's got it 4-3 Ricardo, as has Video Smurf. Couple of 4-2s for Scott Williams for Adam and for James. Patrick got it 4-3 Williams. Connor 4-2 Williams. And Hazzy's got it 4-3 Williams as well. I'm not putting yours up, Jamie, although it did make me laugh a little bit.
He's a little shit.
Yeah.
Every time.
And then we've got just my favourite game of the day, because of what the result's going to be. I'm going in first straight away. Nathan Aspinall beats Andrew Gilding 4-1. I'll give him a set just to be nice, but Nathan Aspinall's not losing this game. Carwin, you're up on this. Are you up on this one? Is it Gob first on this one? Which way are you going?
4-3.
Don't be a cock. There's people listening to this, so you're going to have to say it out loud, even though I'm just giving it away.
Andrew Gilding.
Carwin?
I actually think it's going to be a short one. Aspinall wins 4-0. I just think there's so much happening elsewhere in the draw that will open doors for Aspinall or reopen doors for Aspinall. That I think he blitzes in 4-0.
I knew I liked you. I knew you were my favourite on this show. We've got Connor with Aspinall 4-3. James is with you, Carwin 4-0. He's another smart man. Gilding 4-2 for Daniel. I'm just not going to put any Gilding ones up. As 4-2 for Maliki. 4-0 Patrick there as well. Bob's got Aspinall 4-2, which fills me with a lot of confidence because Bob generally gets a lot of them right. Jamie, at least you've apologised for that, so I'll put it up 4-3 Gilding. As 4-2 for Video Smurf. Landon's got 4-2 Gilding. His pace melts players. It does a little bit, but I don't think Ash really worries about that. 4-2 Aspinall for Jack. Adams with me 4-1. 4-2 Ash for Daz, and we've got 4-0 Ash for Hazzy as well. So yeah, most of the people in the chat are smart enough not to try and wind me up in this one, other than Gob. Into the evening session, and really, really good game to start off the evening session. Surprised Dan Simpson's not here. He might turn up in the chat at this point just to give us a prediction on it. We all know he's going to be predicting Dolby 4-0 anyway. But it is Chris Dolby up against Josh Rock. This is a great game, Colin. Which way are you going on this?
It is, because we know they'll both score heavily. They'll both hit big numbers. And I think it's going to be a game of who finishes better. And I think
under pressure, they're both naff.
That's
the thing.
I think it might be a game of who finishes worse. It might be the
and it might be that, but I think Dolby wins 4-2 because Rock is doubling, lets him down a bit more than Dolby's.
Yeah, I can see that. Which way are you going, Gob?
Yeah, I think I've got the same scoreline, to be honest. The worry for Dolby is that he gets caught up in the pace. Rock absolutely flies around the stage. I say this every time. It's one of my most repeated comments. It makes me sick watching him sometimes. I just think that Dolby's got that scoring power to push things beyond Rock. And if it starts to go badly for him with the pace that he plays at, it can unravel very, very quickly against somebody of Dolby's firepower and pace of play as well, to be honest.
Yeah, like Dolby is a little bit more deliberate. It is sort of Rock has to sort of slow himself down a little bit in this one. I think the biggest worry for Dolby is the fact that I'm also going 4-2 Dolby, which means that all three of us have gone in that direction, which is probably the bigger worry for him more than anything else, because it tends to be the way it goes if we all go the same way. I reckon this will be pretty split in the chat room as well. Connor and Jack have both gone 4-3 for Rock. Dolby 4-2 from Daniel. He's with us on that one. Rock 4-3 for Hazzy as well. Dolby 4-1 for James. Dolby 4-3 for Maliki. Landon's got it 4-2 Dolby, the same as us. Adam's got it 4-0. I can't see Rock not getting a set. I just think he's too good not to pick up a set at any point. Bob's gone 4-2 for Dolby as well. Dolby 4-3 sudden death legs. I mean, I'm all here for it if it does go that, because it's going to be a great watch. 4-0 Dolby for Jamie. Daz has gone 4-2 Dolby because he's decided that Dolby's going to win the bull, because he said whoever wins the bull, but gone 4-2 Dolby. I like that. And he has mentioned, he's giving a little back up to his game, that Rock does pretty decent when he is the underdog. Yeah, he does like a bit of being up against it a little bit. From there, we go on to Michael Van Gerwen against Brendan Dolan. I don't think the chat's going to be split on this one, and I don't think particularly that we're going to be either. Chris has got Dolby 7-0, and Dolby's bringing it home. I assume that's Dan Simpson's burner account. Yeah, so Michael Van Gerwen against Brendan Dolan. I'll go first on this one. I don't think Dolan wins a set. I think it's 4-0 for MVG. I think it's you, Gob.
Okay. I think you're very, very silly.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time it had been said. And sometimes
And your
it's said a
opinion
lot.
on this game is wrong. Their head-to-head on TV is 2 each, from what I can find, including Euro Tours. 1 apiece on the Euro Tour, 1 apiece at the match play by 10-7 scorelines.
Yeah.
I don't think Van Gerwen was that great against James Hurrell. Did enough. I think Hurrell was guilty of trying extra hard, shall we say.
Yeah.
And I still think there are similar worries to that of Gerwin Price that gets through first round, struggles second round. I'm not convinced Van Gerwen is back. And the fact that his draw has opened up quite a lot, as much as the players tell you they're not aware of these things and that they don't read the media and they don't read their social media and all of that sort of stuff, they're fucking lying. And he will be fully aware of that. And I think that opens him up to an upset. Brendan Dolan 4, Michael Van Gerwen 2.
Can I take it back? We are not all going the same way on this one. Colin, which way are you going?
I think result-wise, I'm with you, Cam. I do think Dolan does get a set, though, just because I don't think Van Gerwen is playing well enough to deny Dolan that. And Dolan does like hanging around. He's a bit like a sort of a bad smell in that sense. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I think he gets 2 sets. I think it's 4-2 MVG.
4-2 MVG for you. Yeah, I fancy there's a big performance in there from him. And Dolan just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence, certainly at the moment. So, yeah,
Dolan never fills me with a lot of confidence, but once a year he does something absolutely stupidly ridiculous on TV, and I feel like we haven't had that from Dolan yet this year.
Yeah, I see that.
All right, Van Gerwen was 50% of his doubles against Hurrell, which is impressive, but a 94 average with that means his scoring power is lacking. It's what we're used to seeing from Van Gerwen. And like I said, the draw keeps opening up. And it's been 9 days since Van Gerwen played by the time he plays tomorrow night. At the moment,
it had been a long time since Luke Humphries played, and he made it look pretty.
But he made a step up. But Humphries isn't a player who we've worried about as much this year, and therefore we go is going to be the beneficiary of playing frequently and building up a rhythm. Yeah. Van Gerwen's had a 9-day gap with a player who we know has struggled for form, who would then struggle to get decent match practice in. Don't get me wrong, he's been in this position before at the World Championships, not necessarily carrying the same amount of form that he is right now.
Yeah. If you are with Gob, with the sponsors Paddy Power, you can get 9-2 on Brendan Dolan, which is a very big price in a 2-horse race. I'll be honest with you. It makes me want to have a little nibble on it just in case I am wrong, but I think at 9-2, if you put £10 on, you lose £10. In the chat, James has got MVG 4-0. He's with me on it. 4-1 for Daniel. Maliki 4-0. Hazzy 4-0. Video Smurf 4-0. Hasfrick 4-0. There's a lot of people with me, which is a big worry for your predictions. Dolan 4-3 for Bob. He's gone with you on this one, Gob. I did think when you were going for your prediction, you'd just forgotten that Phil Bars wasn't on the show and you were just on the wind-up, to be honest. But MVG 4-1 for Landon. Dolan 4-0 and 147 finger waves. Get the chopper out. 4-3
It's a
MVG
YouTube show.
for Adam. MVG 4-1 for Jack. And we've got Connor's got Dolan 4-3. Daz 4-3 with sudden death legs as well. And then, yeah, that is everyone on that game, I think. And we go on to the final game, which we're definitely not going to split on. Like Bob tried to do it the other day, I think, with the Littler game, where he just went for Meikle just because nobody else was doing, just because he wanted to look smart in the chat room. Which fair play to you if you want to go that way, but Luke Littler against Ian White. Carwin, your turn first. Which way are you going?
Well, it's 4-0 Littler. It just depends, I guess, how many legs do I give Ian White. I think I'll give him 4 legs. I just don't think he'll be able to keep up with Luke, and Luke's capable of taking anything out. As in, if he wants to hit 3 9 darters, I think he can hit 3 9 darters. He's in a different league to Ian White at the moment, and I just don't think White gets anywhere near him.
4-0 for Carwin. Gob, which way are you going?
Not quite as silly, but 4-2 for Luke. That final set in round 2 against Meikle, I think, papered over a little bit of frailty for Luke.
Yeah, he didn't start.
He has had a roller coaster of a year that has been magnified so intensely over the last few weeks, given that he was a Sports Personality of the Year and Young Sports Personality of the Year, and he's got his own toy range for Christmas with his manufacturer, and is the face of Sky Sports darts campaigns, and has been used absolutely bloody everywhere. And I think, as most 17s are going to do, he cracked a little bit. You could see it in his post-match interview on stage. The tears came out, and I'm starting to worry a little bit for him. He has the ability. That last set proved it, and he went absolutely berserk, got himself out of there. If he continues to produce anywhere near that standard for sets, he's going to absolutely obliterate people in the tournament, as he did last year. But I'm not so sure it is the all-conquering Luke that just doesn't drop sets or legs. I don't think that's a thing.
No, I'm sort of with you on that, and I was slightly concerned by his performance, and sort of like you say, the interview afterwards the other day, and he's a hell of a lot to take on, and he's took everything in his stride and just had an unbelievable year. But there does come a point where it gets tough for you, and I still think he wins this. I think he wins it 4-1. I just think he'll be too good for Ian White, but I think he will have at least a wobble in a set, if not a couple of sets. And for me, nearly even money on Ian White winning a set is just a silly, silly price. And 10 to 11 you can get with Paddy Power for Ian White to win a set, which, I'm all over that. 4-1 Littler, but the bet is definitely for me to be on.
I think that's one of those markets that won't have started at that price, but will be heavily influenced by people backing and lumping on the 4-0 because it's Luke. And actually, because of that, there's money to be made in the opposite.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, do it responsibly if you are doing it. And definitely do it with Paddy Power up there in the top corner, because who else are you going to use for the Paddy Power World Darts Championship other than them? In the chat, we have 4-0 for Littler from Connor. Daniel's got Nuke 4-0 as well. 4-1 Littler. James with us. White winner set is good value. Unless you Carwin, he's banking on that 4-0. Littler 4-0. Don't even need to discuss it from Chris. 4-1 Littler. 4-2 Littler for Patrick and Hazzy there. We've got Malachi's got it at 4-0 for Littler. Adam 4-0 for Littler. Jack's 4-2 for Littler. Video Smurf's got it at 4-1. And Jamie's got it 4-1 for White. nearly misread that then, just because I was with everyone else there going for Littler. But I can't see there's any universe where Luke Littler only wins one set against Ian White. But fair play to you if you go for that, Jamie. You'll be able to get some ridiculous value on that if you fancy it. 40-1 there with Paddy Power if you fancy putting your money where your mouth is on that one. 4-0 Luke for Daz, 4-0 Luke for Bob as well. And that's everyone. And that brings us to the end of the Fallout Bar after day 10 of the Paddy Power World Darts Championship. I'm not sure who's back on tomorrow. I think it might be me and you again, Carwin, funnily enough. Don't know if you're available again, Gob, or whether you're going to be...
pretty sure I am. I'm just not filling in that little box.
Yeah, just seeing if anyone else will do it first, and just if no one else jumps on, go on.
No, I'm enjoying this. I just don't want to fill in the host slot because that means I have to sit while you're doing, and I'm quite enjoying just slagging people off.
Well, yeah, I like how you've got that used to being the host over the years, that when you messaged me to say you were going to come on tonight, you went, I've got a proposition for you. When I was down to host it anyway, because I just shoved it in the host spot because no one else had filled the sheet in when I filled it in. Yeah, you still felt the need to make sure that I would host it if you were going to come on, which I'm happy to do. I keep remembering to do the right things at the right time, sometimes these times, which is now Carwin's catchphrase rather than Michael Van Gerwen's, because he used it on basically every show for the first week. But yeah, that's us done. We'll be back tomorrow. Might be us three again. Don't know. Possibly Dan Simpson if he's put his name down for it. I'm not sure. But thank you, everyone in the chat room, as ever. You're the people that make it and sort of turn it into being the show that it is. So we will see you all tomorrow, and good night.